Happy New Year! Happy New Year! It's the new year. It's the new year. The first Sunday of the year. Yes. Hi guys, I'm Tiffany. Welcome to my quilting life. It's Sunday. So Sunday. Where hopefully this year I inspire you to sew every single Sunday with me. Anyway, so the first thing this year that I really need to do, as the title says, is binding. I need to bind the first quilt of the year. That's what I need to do because I quilted yesterday and it's finished. So now I just need to bind it. I even have a tag and binding all nice and ready. That quick. So simple. Anyways, I don't have a thing to see who's here because I forgot to bring in a computer.
123 people.
So hello and welcome to all 123 of you because I did not bring in a laptop. I was running behind. Oh, now there's 145 of you. So welcome everybody. I'd say hello, but I don't have anything to say hello with. So I am just going to get to binding and Scotty can read questions and whatever because I'm just going to get right to it today. I am binding this scrap quilt that I made last year, because now I could say last year because last year was just yesterday. I need to put my tag in one.
Katie gave you $20.
Oh, thank you, Katie. You didn't have to do that.
Says Happy New Year to you, Scott. Look forward to see what
Put that behind
you
me.
have to offer this year.
Ooh, well, I don't have any plans or anything for this year. I'm just going to be the same as I was last year and the year before and the year before by doing whatever, whenever I feel like doing it. Oh, and I got to finish Sculliver. So, there's that. All right, I just need a corner, any corner. It don't matter. I'm going to put my tag in a corner. I didn't make a very big tag today because I wanted to use the yellow scrap so that we can read, that anybody can read the words on here. I called this Scrap Fun. I really wanted to call it Scrapalicious, but we don't know how to spell Scrapalicious. It was coming out wrong every time we tried to spell it. It didn't look right, so we just decided to say Scrap Fun. So, and then it says Design Piece and Quilted by Tiffany Groff. And I put December of 2022 because technically I finished quilting it yesterday, which was December. So I tagged it for yesterday. So I'm just going to put it in the corner.
What size are your strips?
Strips for what?
What size are your strips again?
I didn't have strips. I don't know what my strips for binding are 2.5 inches.
That's what you
Yes, I cut 2.5 inches from the leftover backing fabric to make my binding. Yes, I don't. When I do smaller quilts, like really small quilts with cotton batting, I'll use 2.25 inch strips for binding. But when I do, like this has, I put 80/20 in this quilt. So it has a little bit of a oomph to it when you feel it, slightly. It's, about that thick. It's 1/4 inch thick. So it has definition. But if I use plain cotton, it never has definition to a quilt. So I usually, 2.25, 2.5. It depends on how the edge looks of the quilt. So this one is getting 2.5.
can you tell them how to get credit when ordering from Fat Quarter Shop?
You click on the Fat Quarter Shop link that Scott will put into the chat. And as soon as you use that link, if you purchase while on that link, then it should credit me for the use of my affiliate link. So I'm just tacking on my tag.
How do you bind from the back to the front without seeing the first sewing line?
How do I bind from the back to the front without what?
Without seeing the first sewing line.
I don't know what that means. I turn the whole quilt around so that I see everything that I'm quilting. That I'm binding. Yeah, I put it on the back and turn the whole quilt over and then pull everything to the front. Stay flat. Okay, that is on. So now I have a nice corner tag for you guys. You're seeing it upside down. It kind of shifted a little bit, so I need to trim that off of here. Shift it ever so slightly. But that's okay. It's on. All right. Now to put the binding on. Look at how easy. That's so quick. And I'm going to move all these scraps to over there because they're going to be in my way. All of my affiliate links are on my About Me page, and or if you're on a computer, they're on the top bar where you see that pink quilt in the top right corner of that bar. There is a little circles up there, and there's every single link. All my affiliate stuff. I'm going to start by finding a seam so that way it doesn't land in the corner. All right, now if I could find where the seam is. Not there, definitely not there. There it is. All right, I do not want the seam to land in the corner. What did you spell wrong? All right. Here, there we go. I'm just going to align it. Keep going. Keep going. The binding is each piece was the width of the backing fabric, so I don't have but 4 seams because I hooked 5 pieces together because I figured I would lose a little bit with my seams. So just to be on the safe side, I added a lot of extra. All right. So I'm going to attach this with a 1/4 inch seam and go all the way around. And I'm just using white thread because I don't want to use anything else. Put the binding on the floor next to me. Put the quilt on my lap. Get comfortable. Lift my chair just ever so slightly. Stay. All right. Here we go. Hopefully everybody had a wonderful New Year's Eve and broadened the new year with some friends or family or something. We went to our neighbor's house for a little while. We didn't stay all night. I actually stayed up till midnight and I didn't want to, but I ended up that way because I was watching TV. So we came home before 10 so that we could go to bed. We went to bed, laid in bed. I had the TV on like I usually do, and fireworks. It was the fireworks the whole entire time. So like right before midnight my time, I was talking to Teresa Louise on the messenger, and because I could not fall asleep. I didn't go to sleep until like 12:45 because people wanted to blow off fireworks, and the ones that are really close to our house, no matter if I would have fell asleep, it would have just wide awake. So I don't normally stay up that late, but fireworks kept me up. Exactly, fireworks. And then it started raining at like 3:30 in the morning. I woke up because I heard the rain on we have a, what is that thing called in the bathroom?
Sunroof.
We have no, it's not a sunroof. Sunlight, skylight. Skylight. We have a skylight in our bathroom.
Skylight.
And when rain hits it, that sound wakes me too. So I woke up, went to the bathroom, went back to bed, fell back asleep, and then I slept till 7 o'clock this morning. And when I got up, guess what? It was raining still. Yep, it was a long night. I didn't want to be up, but I was up. But we went to our neighbors, had fun, ate some food, yummy food. good night.
You should be able to cover the first binding thread with
I should be able to cover what?
You should be able to cover the first binding thread with the one you pull around to finish it, right?
I still have no idea what that means.
I
I
don't
should
know.
be able to pull the binding thread around. Wild threads while I'm back here. This is a pretty big quilt. It's 91 or 90 or 91 by 95 or 96. I don't remember the exact number. It's somewhere in those 90s. Came out pretty large. And I still have more scraps to make a couple more of these lovely big huge scrap quilts. Come to my corner.
Do you fold your binding before you put it on?
Yes. I always press it in half before putting it on. Now I'm going to bring my lap. The microphone already has a big thread on it. Sorry for that, guys. This thing doesn't stay on these shirts very well, my microphone thing.
Is there a reason you choose not to use the walking foot when putting on binding?
Because I don't think it's needed when I put binding on. That's why I don't use the walking foot. And my walking foot sounds like a machine gun. It is so loud. The Juki's walking foot is a loud, they designed it differently than anything. So you think the machine is loud on its own, put a walking foot on it, and then it's double that sound. I don't use it very often unless I'm like quilting, sit down quilting straight lines or something, then I'll use it. But 90% of the time, I just use the regular foot.
When you flip the quilt, does your bobbin thread go in the ditch, or does it leave a line?
It leaves a line of stitching all the way around. Yes.
About a quarter of an inch out?
Yeah, I don't stay on the back side and flip it around and stitch in the ditch because that leaves too much of a lip on the front side. So I actually stitch 1/8 of an inch from the front side, and there's always a line all the way around it, which is no big deal because most of the time I match the thread color of what I'm binding with the thread color of what I quilted with. So it just looks like a quilting line all the way around it. So it always matches. It always looks good. Huh? I do the corners with a mitered corner. M-I-T-E-R. Lots of adjusting when you're binding a quilt. Quilts are usually heavy at this point. Yep. Yep, they're hot when I'm doing this, so I get sweaty. So I try to get it done as fast as I possibly can because it's so hot. Oh, thank you, Vicky. That was very sweet.
Get your nails done or go out to eat. That's good health to you and the new year.
Well, it'll be for bacon or flooring, towards flooring. I can't do my nails for at least 3 months. I have to wait till the my natural nails grow all the way back out again because they're kind of ruined right now. And all of them ripped up so bad, my real nail underneath it ripped so bad that a single nail got cut from the nail ripping all the way to the tip of the finger itself. So they all are cut and they're like very sore. So I have a few months before I can go start working on my nails again. But after 3 years of having them covered with acrylic over my real nails, they have the, every time you get acrylic fills, you have that little line that's created from them filing it down. So that line is about center of my nail now. So it has a little while before it's not there no more.
Do you have a video in regards to your label for the quilts that I can refer to? They just mean using the embroidery machine?
I just use the embroidery machine to make labels.
If they want to know how to do that, we have plenty of embroidery videos.
There's a couple of embroidery making label on my
Well, tell them we have one
with
me,
binding.
we do it on a shirt.
Yeah, Scott even did it on a shirt, but they're talking about for binding. That's weird. A green thread that's not thread. It's yarn.
Where did that come from?
Where did it come from? I don't know. That's odd. It's just sitting here. Must have picked it up from something in here. I don't have any yarn, so that's very odd. Yeah, I had probably mixed in my binding videos last year because I did get the machine last year. So probably mixed somewhere in the binding videos is making a tag before getting to the binding part. We never actually made a how to make a tag on an embroidery machine thing yet because we haven't done that. And nothing on my channel is planned. I just do what I do when I do it. So, yeah.
Yeah, Vicky says Eric left it.
Probably what it came from was Christmas stuff. It's all been cleaned up, so.
Teresa says, was it Thumper's yarn?
Maybe. He probably found it and brought it in here.
How do you do labels without an embroidery machine?
I did the labels on my brother what is that? No, SQ9285. My brother SQ9285 had monogramming, so I would make labels on that. And if you don't have that and you just get regular labels and you sign them with marker, you can do that too and then glue them on to a quilt.
Visit with Eric?
Yes, I very much enjoyed my visit with Eric. We had fun.
Did you know he was coming or was it a surprise?
No, we knew he was coming for Christmas. Yeah. Yep, we knew he was coming. And he wanted to come back out for New Year's, but he ended up having to work. So that's why he didn't come for New Year's, because he went and had to work. But that's okay. I got to spend Christmas with him. All right, bring this side onto my lap. Oh yeah, I made plenty of binding. Get it on my lap and go. This process doesn't really take me forever. I'm pretty quick with it.
Teresa says the picture of you two was so cute because you look like a little kid next to him.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, 91, 95, I think. Or 90, 96. I don't know. It's something like that. I didn't even have it wrote down on a tag. Like usually I make a little tag and I put it on the hanger that I hang the quilt top on with the size of it. I didn't even have that. I just hung this up in the closet. I might have thought maybe I was going to put a border on it or something. I don't know. So I left it as is and didn't put a little tag on it. Huh? Okay. Yeah, but I have to put it just right because this quilt is heavy.
I could have brought it over.
All right, camera's moving. Yep, camera's moving. And if I bump it, it's because it's very close to me. And the quilt is very close to me. I don't know how I'm going to even manage this one.
Put the camera on the other side like you've done before.
Okay, hold on. Well, camera's moving again. Sorry, guys. This is very awkward. Until I rearrange my room, these angles are not easy to create. There we go. Down so I can even see it.
Perfect there.
Right there? Okay, well now.
What I got.
Now I'm tangled up.
Sorry. You need me to come help?
Nope. All right, guys.
How do you determine the cost of your quilts?
I determine the cost by how much work I put into it. I determine the cost by the supplies that I have into it. I determine just by whatever. It varies with every quilt, and that's why you'll see some quilts are cheaper than others when I sell them. All right, is this good enough? You could see this?
From my thing, yes, it's perfect.
Down close to the corner. Yeah, as soon as we tear the house up and put it back in order, I'm going to be putting this room into a way where camera angles won't be as hard as they are to achieve right now. Okay, so I'm coming to a corner. This is the last and final corner. What I do is I stop a 1/4 inch from the edge. I'm so used to where that is that I know. So a 1/4 inch from the edge is where I stop. And I backstitch, then I pull it away, and then I fold this. I take the whole thing and fold it out to where it's equal with the quilt, like this. And then I use my fingers. Usually I have nails for this, but I put my fingers at the edge. My nails usually sit at the edge. And then I fold it onto itself, like this. And then I have a nice straight edge here. I just turn the whole thing and then come in from the edge. And then I do a little back stitch and then come down to about right here. And we're going to just do a sit down connector right here in front of you. Yep, my binding is 2.5 inches. So here's my tail that I started with. Can you see right here? This angle right here?
I don't know what you're pointing at, but I can see.
Oh, okay. So here's what I started with. I'm going to go ahead and cut off some of that right there. So it's nice and straight. I'm going to just use this because I don't want to grab the ruler. This is 2.5 inches right here. So I'm going to lay that on top of here. Everything's nice and flat. I'm going to take I'm going to lay it over it. Usually I use a ruler for this so that it's exact, but I don't want to grab the ruler right now. So now I have it laid with that in the middle. I'm just going to take my scissors and line them up with the edge and cut. that. So now these are 2.5 inches apart. So now all this excess I don't need. I'm gonna move this out of the way. I'm just gonna fold this open, and then I'm gonna bring this bottom one up. So this one opens. The top one that's coming down to me always opens out like this. The bottom one, if you find it like this, you open it this way so it's facing down. Come up two, lay them on top of each other, just like this. And I'm going to sew from this corner to this corner, and I use my seam tape to achieve that. So I have my bottom corner right there on the tape, on the red line, which is my center. And I just follow that all the way down, and when I open it, it should flat. So before, make sure there's no twists or folds. I bunch the quilt back up, and then I just scissor cut a 1/4 inch seam allowance right there at the end. And then I finger press. In this case, the pad of my finger. Usually I use my nail, but I don't got any nails and they hurt. So I just finger press it to one side. Oops. Open it back up, and it's nice and flat. I'm going to put my seam guide back where it was because I cannot sew a straight line for the life of me. I'm going to start about 1 inch where I ended, back stitch, and then sew all the way to where I started. And then about 1 inch beyond it, back stitch, and there you can't even tell where I started and stopped. So now, flipping the whole quilt over, this thing is heavy. I'm going to move my seam guide out of the way because I don't need it for this part. I'm just going to grab the quilt binding from the back and pull it to the front. And if you guys hear blowing up sounds, that's because there's fireworks going off. And I'm going to stitch length, change my stitch length to a 3mm. And I'm going to stitch 1/8 of an inch from the edge, from the outer edge, from the left edge, not from the inside of the fold. And I use my finger to push down as I go. My rest of my fingers hold it down as I'm doing this.
Why did you change your stitch length?
I like the 3mm is like 10 stitches per inch, so that stitch length matches my quilting stitch length.
Together, right?
There is no wrong sides together here. This is just how it goes.
Binding wrong sides together?
Yeah, binding is wrong sides together. So here I'm coming to a corner. I'm going to fold this one side up. Then I'm just going to pinch down right here and fold this top side over just like that. And those two corners are going to match right up. Trying to make sure that the binding comes all the way around. I come all the way down to it. Take one stitch in to the second piece, turn it, and stitch this way. Then I just adjust the whole quilt onto my lap.
Can you sew over the stitching from the back stitching line to cover it up on the front?
So over
This is what she keeps asking
this,
about.
in this ditch, I don't sew in this ditch. The reason I don't sew from the back side and folding it over and sew in this ditch is because on the front side, it leaves too much of a lip. When I say too much of a lip, that means on the front side, it's going to stitch about right here. Let's put my scissors right there. See that lip that it leaves? It leaves too much of a lip, and I don't like that. I've never liked that. And if you're binding, or if you're, say your trimmed quilt, the batting doesn't come that far, and you have it stitched right there and you pull it back, you're going to see your batting. So if you stitch all the way over and it's folded all the way over from the front side and you stitch 1/8 of an inch from this left side, then you're holding it down all the way. And if you do have batting, which I don't, oh, here we have some right here. If you have batting on that front side, you are 100% covering it. Okay. That's why I don't do that. And I just realized in the showing you guys of this that I got a little messed up right here. And I'm going to come back and go right over it. They're never perfect. Never perfect. It just happens. And I don't mind the stitch on the back side. I never have. So here's the back side. It's going to have that stitch right here all the way around. And that doesn't bother me. It never has. Because the front is what you're looking at on a bed, not the back. So really, you don't see it. All right. So I'm just going to continue on and do this whole side. And I use my fingers to hold it once it's folded to keep it nice and tight so it's wrapped over in full. I don't let my fingers get under the machine. But see right here, there's a little bit of batting showing. If I would have stitched in that ditch, if there would have been any more batting and I was in that ditch, you could fold it back and see the batting, and we don't want that. Because sometimes when you trim a quilt, sometimes there's batting showing, and it's not always, but sometimes, especially if one block was shorter and you want them to keep their points, like when I quilt for other people and you want to keep your points, you want to make sure that you cut, that edge of that block that certain way. And it's a nice square quilt. And it's my fingers that are doing all the work here, manipulating everything. I just always done it this way. Even when I didn't know how to bind, I still wrapped it to the front. And I used like 3-inch and 4-inch binding because I did not know.
Can you see both the front and the back stitching lines on the front?
No, you only see this stitch on the edge in the binding on the front. You don't see the back from the front.
Your bobbin sitting there next to you, what thread is in them? What thread do you like?
Right now I have signature in, well, that. Right now I have what I'm using in these extra bobbins right here. They're usually in these things. I got to put more of these on, but this is the white signature that I'm using right now. Some of them have from other quilts because I bound with other quilts. So when I'm sewing together scraps, I'll use these colors up. That's why I leave them right here. But right now I'm just using the same white on the top as I am on the bottom.
Oh, no, she wants to know what the bobbin holder is. What's attached to it?
It's a bobbin holder. It's a bobbin buddy. I just got a package in the mail yesterday that I opened that had more of these, which I'm grateful for because I love using these things and I can keep them all next to me on the little bobbin buddies. But I had some loose ones, and the problem with it being on a loose one, not in the bobbin buddy, is that my trash can is literally right here underneath the desk at the edge. So I have dropped my bobbins in there, and that's expensive because these bobbins were expensive for this machine to have a ton of them. So I definitely like having the bobbin buddies on them because if it falls in the trash, I can see the bright bobbin buddy. It's just the way everything's set up in here. And And trust me, I do drop things in the trash quite often that I'm not supposed to.
How many bobbins do you wind at a time?
Sometimes I wind like 3, sometimes 4. It just depends on how many empty ones I have left. And right now I have all these other colors that I haven't used up all the bobbin of, so they're like taking over all the empty bobbins that I would normally have. But I have a ton of bobbins. So I don't ever need more bobbins for the Juki. All right, so I'm going to come up to this next corner. I'm going to do that same thing as soon as it's fully on my table or extension table. I'm just going to take this bottom piece, fold it up. Sometimes I take this piece, down like this and fold the bottom to it. But if I start one way, I do the rest of them all exactly the same. So since the other one I started with the bottom up for my miter, I just run it out like this, fold it in, and those 2 corners touch perfectly. And if they don't, I can just roll it and then it does. So then I come down, take 1 stitch into the fold and 1 stitch out and back in. Turn the whole thing. There we go. Readjust. And I also pluck threads while I'm here if they don't fold down in. Put those into the trash. I've even entered quilt shows with my binding like this. So just know you do not have to hand sew. They do not dock you points for your binding having a stitch. They will say something if it's wobbly all the way down, but they usually won't say anything because everybody does their binding the way that they're comfortable doing it. So it doesn't have to be a hand-stitched binding to enter it into a quilt show or anything. As long as it's nice and consistent the whole way, that's all that matters. And I try to stay completely consistent with this 1/8 of an inch from the edge all the way down. So you can see my stitch line on the back and the front, but it's 1/8 of an inch from the edge. I didn't tuck all my threads under there.
Do you ever use decorative stitching on the binding?
I have when I first started, but now I do not use any decorative stitches on binding. But like I said, I did in the beginning because I didn't know any better. It looked cool, but after years of quilting, I'm used to it like this, and I find this looks the cleanest, is doing it this way. But go ahead, use decorative stitches. Those things are on the machine for a reason. This machine does not have decorative stitches. It's a straight stitch only machine, so obviously I couldn't do it anyway. And the brother machine takes too long, so I just stuck with a straight stitch.
Yeah.
I don't want to. It'd probably take me 3 hours to bind on that little brother machine as opposed to the 1 hour on this for a quilt this size. I even have lots of clients from long arm quilting that they have me bind their quilts, and this is the way they like me to bind their quilts as well. They say it looks very clean this way. All right, so I'm here at another corner. Let me get a little bit closer. Just going to do the same as I've been doing. I'm folding up, and you can see my finger is caught in this little corner right here. And then I'm just going to push it out and out of the way so it's folded and created a 45-degree angle, and then fold it on top of itself. And you can see you can mess it up like this by folding it, and then you have like a square version. You can do that, but it looks cleaner if you have a 45. I don't have fingernails holding anything, so it looks kind of weird with my, feels weird with my fingers holding it like this. So come up to it. I take one stitch in, one stitch back, one stitch in, and turn. And if you feel that your corner is not tucked enough, you could always use something sharp to push it. And that did not stitch where it was supposed to.
When did you make this quilt?
I made this quilt last year. Stitched almost where it was supposed to.
Yesterday, technically, was
Last year. I quilted it yesterday. So you can see here, I'm going to put this guy in here so that you can see. So see, this corner doesn't come, the 45 doesn't come exactly to the corner. You can actually manipulate it by pulling on it and then pushing it through using a stiletto. So now my 45 is exactly in that corner. So you could also use the tools. I've also seen people that stitch, they come in and stitch right here. I don't ever stitch that. I don't ever feel the need to. I just stitch it how I do. Get down enough so that I can get rid of that starting stitch. Pull the quilt onto my lap. Every time I do that, my shirt comes down all the way. It's not good. Straighten it out and continue on. And the reason my fingers are holding this down as I go, coming up to the needle, is because every now and then the foot, because it's a skinny 1/4-inch foot, sometimes the foot catches it and it'll fold it back like this, and I don't want that to happen, so I prevent it by running my fingers along it as I go down. So it keeps it from folding in the lip. We don't want to fold the lip into it. And this is how fast I sew in not on camera, minus the talking, obviously. I actually have music on normally, and I'll sing to music while binding. And every now and then there'll be a seam. When those seams aren't pressed properly, what can happen is the foot can actually push your needle over this way or off of it. So I always pay attention. It's pressed nicely, but every now and then I pay attention so that it doesn't take it off the quilt, because sometimes it does. All of my tops are hanging in the closet on hangers. All right, final corner. I'm just tucking everything down in.
How big is
folding
this
it up.
91 by 95?
Yeah.
Okay,
We'll measure one more time when I'm completed. So you can see I just hold it, one stitch in, one stitch out, turn it, come down, adjust the quilt. And this is the final side. I always take advantage also to clip away any long stray threads. And we're out. Bobbin. Ow, that hurts to get bobbin out right now. Like I said, you guys can see these cuts at the ends of my nails. Yeah, it's really bad. All right, just gonna put a bobbin in here real quick. Put this other one up there out of the way. Clip away this there where it ran out, and I'm going to come above where it ran out. And then once it's visible, I'll pluck that extra thread. On the front and on the back. All right, getting close. No, I wash my own personal quilts, yes, but not quilts that are going for sale, because some people might be allergic to the wash that we use. So that I leave on whoever gets my quilts. Just like I tried my best to keep Thumper off of everything. He doesn't get on my fabric. He doesn't go on my desk. He lays in one spot when he's in here. When I'm long arm quilting, he doesn't lay on the quilt. And even if he did, I pick the quilts up off the floor so that he is not able to lay on them at all. So that way I can have, you know, smoke and pet free or pet friendly-ish quilts. I'll be quilts, so I definitely try to keep them brand new as best as possible. All right, so I'm just coming up to where I started. There's some wild threads there. Just going to give it a little bit of a tug right here. Hold it down as I come down. And I'm going to meet up and then cross over where I started about ½ an inch. Cut my thread. Get rid of these little tails that the cutter creates. And there we have it. Binding is on. So here I like veered off and there's a lip. So you can see I kind of veered right here. I don't like that lip. I like it to be flat, but I'm not going to pluck it out just to fix it. So just saying, it happens, but I try to stay consistent with that edge with my 1/8 of an inch all the way. And again, you can fix these corners by just using a pair of scissors or whatever if you have to have it lay exactly in the corner, just like that.
You make your binding wider than 2.5?
Yep, you can have as wide as you want on binding. You can do a 3-inch binding. You can, if you want it to cover a lot of space, but just know if you did a quilt that has points and you use a wide binding, you're going to lose all your points. So I think on here is somewhere on here. So say you did pinwheel blocks right here and you have points at all of your ends, you're going to lose all those points. The wider that binding gets, the more points you're going to lose. So it's going to sit way over and your blocks will look kind of funny on the edges, but you can do wider. If you have just big strips or like this quilt is just scraps, then obviously the binding doesn't need to be any bigger than what it is. You can do big, or you can do little. It doesn't matter because it's covering everything and there's no points to be lost.
Are you happy the quilt is finished?
Yep. Let me move you guys now. All right. Camera is moving. Hey, kitty.
Yep, he made his appearance.
Say hi. His little thingy's not there on the floor because when you vacuumed, you picked it up.
Where did it go?
It's in the little bin that we put mail in.
The boy doesn't like that. He needs his spot. I'll do it. You just get back over there.
Okay. All right. So the final thing that I do is I check to make sure. Oh, can you plug the phone back in? I forgot to.
Yeah. I can find that in here. It's hidden.
All right. So the last and final thing that I do is I always go around, and I don't have fingernails right now, but I go around and check to make sure that I caught the edge. Every now and then my eyes get blurry. I have no peripheral vision, so I kind of, get blurry vision quite often. And I make sure that I did not go off the edge and that the binding is caught all the way around. Because like I said, I veer off sometimes. It's not my fault.
So Gigi to watch your video yesterday.
Watch yesterday's video, Gigi. Was it about me quilting? Is that what it is? Yeah.
How you did the swirls.
Yeah, I did that yesterday. I also clip any threads while I'm at this point. Just go around and make sure that I did this properly. You said it hadn't been an hour yet? Oh, wow. So I did this one faster than an hour. Well, got to add the making the binding in. That's what takes an hour. All right, one more side to check. Looks good, looks good. It's all on there. Okay. Thumper is a snowshoe. He's rare to be in this area. He's like an East Coast or other country kitty where it's cold, like Siberia. He's not a cat for Arizona, that's for sure. All right, so there it is. I'm going to measure real quick to see how big it did turn out. All right. Here we go. Ow, that hurt my thingy. I'm just going to lay it in half right here. Six is 2, carry the 1, 52, 53. It's 53 by 53, not 53, 90. Did I just say 93? 4 and 4 is 8 plus 1 is 9. Yeah, 93.
You want me to help you measure?
No, I'm doing math in my head-ish.
I like the ish.
Math-ish in my head. I said 50 because I was thinking of something at the the same exact time as I was trying to measure. 4 and 4 is 88. 44, yeah, 44 and 44 is 88. So it turned out, after quilting it, at 88 by 93.
It shrank a little.
Yep, it shrank a little with quilting. Not a little, it shrank a couple inches with quilting. 89, 90. So yeah, it shrank 2 inches with quilting. Yep. It shrank quite a bit with the quilting. All right, that's it. That's the quilt. So here's a quarter of it. Right there. It's quite heavy.
Is that considered a queen size?
I would say it fits over a full better than a queen, honestly. I mean, yeah, you can put it on a queen. It's going to hang over like 6 inches on each side. Or 7 or 8 inches.
Queen, right?
No, 88, 60. Yeah, it'll hang over 10 inches on each side of a queen. And more than 10 at the bottom, like 12 inches or 13 inches. So yeah, it'll have plenty of hangover on a queen if you don't have a thick mattress. All right, and then this quarter this way now. There's a quarter of it this way. They're really hard to hold these.
Do you want me to hold it in?
No, it's fine. You can see it has leftover blocks in it. It has all sorts of stuff in it. It's just a giant scrap quilt. And I did make it in a video. I'm pretty sure it was on a Sew Sunday. I was just making giant scrap blocks. So they were like 17 by 25, and some of them were like 16 by 18. They were just random size rectangles, really. And then I puzzled them all together. So that's how this is made.
How did you decide which scraps to use as rectangles and which to fit
Oh,
in?
those just happened the way they happened. So whatever size a piece of scrap was, I just cut that next one to fit that size. And I cut the next one. So whether it came out a rectangle or a square or anything, that's how it happened. And then, like I said, there's random. I did the pinwheels in here because some of them I had just the squares that were already there. So I took the 4 matching ones and put them in here. Same with this one. Just like these big ones. These I had layer cake squares left, and I made 2 blocks like this with this fabric. So sometimes I have leftover pieces. It's a little bit of everything. And the scrap, there's also mini scraps in here are also from scraps that people sent me. So like there's a little bit of everybody and everything in here. And I use it all up. There that is. Now I'm done with that. So I'm just going to grab a side project from over on the other side of the camera that I've been working on. So let me block the camera for a second. Grab all my pieces. Bring them over here. Here's another scrap project that I've been slowly working on. All right.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, I started this while my friend Kim was here making her t-shirt quilt. I needed something to do, so I started making a ton of 4 patches with scraps. Okay. And this can just go over here for now.
Why don't you let me move it? I can know.
All right. So here we're just moving on to the next thing. I'm making 4 patches with scraps. And I started sewing these on my brother machine because she was using my Juki to learn how to make a quilt. So I have just tons of scrappy 4 patches, but all the fabric goes together. So These are leftovers from mine and Maxine's quilts. So I'm just going to work on these for a little bit. Lots of random things to do around here. I have no idea what I'm making with all this either, by the way. So just making 4 patches because I figured that was the easiest thing to make with the leftover scraps from mine and Maxine's quilts. All right. Let's put my seam guide back on here and start sewing. And I'm just mixing these up and making sure that the seams are in opposite directions and sewing them. Oops, it would be nice to have a regular stitch length though. There we go. Oh, that's better.
They post pictures of their quilting adventures on the Facebook group.
Can I what?
Can they post pictures of their quilting?
Oh yeah, you can post in the Facebook group. That's what the group is for you guys to share the things that you have done as well. I share what I've done, although I'm very, very behind on my sharing in the group. I just updated my Instagram with projects, but I haven't yet got to the Facebook group with all the stuff on it yet.
Well, tell them I had you answer that question. I know the answer, but I had you answer it, so you can tell them.
Yes, make sure that if you join the group that you answer the questions. You will be denied if you don't answer. That there's literally 3 questions and then an I accept or I don't accept. That's it. So that's 4 total things to answer to join the group.
What do you do if your fabric is really thin? Do you put something with them to make them thicker?
It depends on the thin fabric. If it's like clothing fabric or something, I would wear clothing, make clothing out of it or something. But if it's really thin because it's can't think of the word, like there's a specific line or a certain company has thinner fabrics. I mean, you shouldn't have to put anything behind it. It should last. I've used gingham is probably the thinnest fabric that you can buy, and I've made quilts with gingham, and they still are holding to this day. After being washed a bazillion times, they still hold. So, I mean, that one's on you if you want to use a stabilizer behind it, but I would say just sew it together and, you know.
Because it's cotton fabric.
Well, then it should hold up through washing and everything. That one there. I'm trying to like match these up so where there's 2 different colors. There we go. Those 2 can go together. I am being kind of picky about this little scrap project.
Are we affiliated with the Grace?
Am I affiliated with what?
The Grace Company.
No, not the Grace Company, just Sewing Machines Plus.
Do they sell Grace on Sewing Machines?
Yes, they do sell Grace products at Sewing Machines Plus. Yes. Sewing Machines Plus has Baby Lock, they have Grace, they have the King Quilter, they have lots of things. They have, I can't name all the, did I say Baby Lock? They sell Brother, they sell Juki, they sell the Juki Long Arms, they sell all sorts of stuff. Little bit of everything. They have Handy Quilter. That's the other long arm they sell is Handy Quilter. They have the sit-down Handy Quilter machines. They have other sit-down machines. They have a little bit of everything, like I said. You have to look on their website. But yes, they do sell Grace. All right. I like sewing things like this because it's just making 4 patches. It's so easy, and whatever I end up making from it will look super adorable.
What did you want to be when you were young?
I wanted to be a doctor when I was younger. The only reason I didn't go to school, besides having kids, I could have still went to school having kids. The only reason why I didn't become a doctor is I cannot pronounce 90% of those big fancy words, and I've tried and tried and tried. And with my memory and having MS, yeah, because I was diagnosed when I was 20 with multiple sclerosis. So I've had it pretty much, we think since I was like 16 years old, because I started showing symptoms when I was really young. So I've pretty much had MS all my life. And yeah,
Okay,
if
but
they
what
would
did
have,
you want to be when you were younger?
when I was younger, I still wanted to be a doctor,
No, you wanted to be
an Olympic gymnast.
Yes,
Yes, I wanted to be a gymnast. That's when I was really, really young.
Well, you were doing it. You were good at it.
But I wanted to be a doctor too at the same time. By the time I was like 9, I wanted to be a doctor.
But you were doing the Olympic gymnastics.
Oh yes, I was.
You were
I
very
was
good at it.
wanting to be an Olympic gymnast. Yes.
Yes, you were very good at your gymnastics.
Yes, I was a very good gymnast. And I could still do some gymnastic stuff. Like I can walk on my hands still. Can you believe it? My legs are wobbly, but my arms are still pretty tough. And I could still walk on my hands. I don't know how far I'll get, but I could still do it. And being upside down kind of bothers me these days, but I could still walk on my hands.
Is there a video where you made this quilt? Is she talking about this one?
The quilts that I made using this fabric are Mommy and me sews each other quilts. The Maxine and me are sewing each other quilts in the videos. So we're each together sitting in here. There's like 3 or 4 videos now. There's 4 because she long arm quilted hers. So there's like 4 videos now. Hers is done. It's literally sitting. It needs binding. She needs to bind it. The one that she's made for me, I have to quilt hers still. But I already know what backing she wants. I just haven't quilted it yet because I haven't quilted it yet. I kind of get caught up when I'm, during the year because I have to do my client quilts too. So those always come before my stuff. But this year will be different because I plan to quilt up everything that's hanging in there. There's like, I don't know, 25, 30 quilts hanging in there. Just in the closet. There's way more quilt tops in this room and in the other room that I started long time ago and never did anything with. But the nice quilts, the ones that I took my time to create, are hanging in the closet and they just need to be quilted. So I'm a little behind on that, but I will get them done this year. All of them. I need to do them all this year because there's some that are in there from like 4 years ago. Like a Bargello. There's a Bargello in there from years ago. I need to quilt it and just get it done and over with.
Becca wants you to know that she has proudly finished every project that she started in 2023.
Oh, that's awesome. Yay, congratulations. So there's nothing hanging on the quilt ladder that need to be quilted or anything?
Everything that she started in 2022.
Oh, everything that she started in 20. Everything that I started in 2022. Or in 2023, you mean?
Yes, that's what I said.
Oh, you said 2022. Yeah. I have not completed anything I started today because I didn't start anything today. I started it all in 2022 and before.
Have you ever done a piece backing?
I have piece backings all the time. The quilt that I just did has 2 different backing fabric, 2 different fabrics on it to be pieced. I piece backing all the time. I just use whatever I can, whatever looks good, whatever I feel like.
Have you ever made a summer quilt without batting?
In the beginning, yes. I didn't use batting in 2 things. But it doesn't quilt the same, so it looks funny. It's pretty much just making a sheet, a quilted sheet. That's what making a summer quilt is without batting.
You made a quilumpeter. And
I made a quilumpeter too, which was a quilt comforter combo with my fancy word that I made up. But it works. A quilumpeter is a quilt top and quilted comforter style, which is barely any stitching like a comforter. And it was very, very fluffy, like a comforter. So I called it a quilumpeter. That was my made up word of what, 2020, 2019, 2020. It was 2020 when I made those quilts. Those
2020
three.
or 2021, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the end of 2020. Yep. Lots of pieces here. I seem like I don't have very much variation in all this. Oh, I heard something go boom. That's because last night it was rainy, cloudy, and windy, so not very many people. I mean, there were still lots of fireworks last night, don't get me wrong, but not as many as previous years on the New Year's Eve.
There's one working on my projects half done.
Exactly. That's what I'm doing right now. But I'm having fun with it, just sewing stuff up. And making a ton of 4 patches that I don't know what I'm going to do with, but I will eventually make something. Probably just going to sew them all together end to end and row by row. I think that'll be just fine. Come on. Come on. There we go. It's cute fabric. This is fabric that Maxine bought. Maxine bought some of it, the fat quarters. Or no, she bought half yards. That's what she bought because we split it into fat quarters. That way she got some and I got some to make matching quilts. And yeah, I added a couple other things, like we added polka dots from my stash and like 3 different kinds of polka dots we added from my stash. It worked out perfect. And I even had these scraps to play with. Okay. I'm flipping and turning them because they were all pressed one way, so I want the seams to nest. So that way no 2 are exact, which is what's happening here.
Fireworks are outlawed here too.
Yeah, fireworks are technically outlawed here, but nobody cares or says anything. Unless it's like, you know, they blowing them off in the middle of the night at like 3 o'clock in the morning and someone complains, then you'll get in trouble. Or if you get actually caught doing it. But you can buy ground fireworks here. You're allowed to use ground fireworks here. So they set up fireworks stands on the 4th of July for ground fireworks. All right, let's bring this up closer. It's driving me crazy being far away from me. So did everybody make New Year's plans to do something fun in 2023?
Oh yeah, the New Year's resolution.
Resolutions. My resolution is to listen to things blowing up at the moment. No, I'm just kidding. Is to get this room completed once we get rid of our termite problem, which is hopefully happening soon. And like I told you guys last year, and now I say last year, even though it was just like a couple weeks ago, our house is getting torn apart. So Sunday videos during the month of January are probably going to be weird and not in here because this room is getting completely emptied. So my first goal of the year is to get the room emptied, painted, carpeted, and reorganized for a better filming experience for YouTube. I'm going to try to do my best to make it more easier, like camera angles, like not having this next to me and have a different place for it.
What's the difference between a UFO and a WIP, a WIP?
WIP is work in progress, so I literally have a work in progress going on here, a WIP. A UFO is an unfinished object, so unfinished object could be the quilt that's hanging in there, or an unfinished project can be this pile of snail trail blocks that hopefully in 2023 I will eventually finish because I'm making snails at sea with this. And yes, it's covered with fabric to stop the dust from turning my black blocks brown because there's so much dust in here. But yeah, that's the difference. Like I also have this UFO right here. I haven't touched it in so long, but Eric did a sew along. And I have all of my 52 weeks, 52 blocks from 2021 in here. So you can see my giant blocks are in here. And I have yet to put this together, so it's considered a UFO right now, an unfinished object, because I don't know what to do with all this. But I will put it together eventually, hopefully this year. We'll see. I have all these projects, these ones at least right here, so that way I see them constantly under my desk at my feet, so that I'm like, okay, maybe I should finally do that. So this one will be just giant puzzle piecing it all together because of the blocks. I'll have to puzzle piece it. So yeah, I have many unfinished objects in this room.
Do you ever use the backing to fold over for a binding?
Do I use the backing to fold over for binding? Yes, I have done that, but usually only with flannel or fleece or minky. Those are the only 3 times. I don't really do it with regular cotton because it's really hard to cut up to the edge of the batting after I long arm it, to cut up to the edge of the batting right at, so that it's next to the quilt so that I could fold it, double fold it over. So I kind of don't do it with regular cotton. It's so much easier with the flannel, the minky, and the, no, I forgot the other word that I just said. Whatever, you guys heard what I said. So yeah, I don't do it with regular cotton fabrics. Yes, those go together. Yes, they will. Minky and fleece. Those are the 2 words. Flannel, minky, and fleece. Wow, I lost it that quick. So crazy. Oh, those are the same. Don't put those there. Those are matchy. Don't put those there. These 2 don't go together. Try to use all these up equally. Those are the same. Don't put those in the same thing. No. Yes. Time for a drink of water.
You need me to get you another one?
Mm-mm.
You want some juice?
Mm-mm. And a stretch. Oh. I get so achy sitting here. It's crazy. more left of these guys. My goodness, they went quick. I had ones that were like plain pieced together, and then I had the ones that had the pictures on them pieced together. So after these last three, it's going to be just putting the matchy-matchy ones next to each other that are of the same fabrics, bright fabrics. A UFO exchange with friends? I don't know. Sounds interesting, like having someone else finish my project, but
Tutorial on how to put a minky backing.
I have a tutorial for minky backing on the long arm and then binding.
What is the best batting to make thick, heavy quilt?
A thick, heavy quilt would be having some cotton batting and polyester batting in the same quilt. You want thick and puffy? Then use a thin layer of 100% cotton, the thin stuff, and then take a like 8-ounce loft polyester and put that on top, and then you will have the ultimate thick, like literally like that thick. It'd be hard to run the long arm through it. It's going to be a thick quilt. Because I have 8-ounce poly, and I love it. I love it for the high loft of it. It's like that thick. And obviously, when it's smushed down with heavy quilting, it gives the most beautiful, like, you're trying to do something specific, like have like a feather design and then have a gap between that and then say echo lines coming out or something. It gives definition to that front piece and it makes it pop. It's so awesome. I actually haven't used poly in a while. I've been using 100% cotton on almost everything until yesterday when I opened a brand new bag of 80/20. And the only reason why we weren't using the 80/20 and mixing it up with all the quilts that I do is because it was buried in the back and we didn't want to pull it out. So I've been using what was in the front, which was the cotton. Plus all my clients that send me quilts, they want cotton. So that's all I've been using in almost everything lately. Haven't done any puffy, fluffy quilts. I mean, almost in all 2021. I don't think I did any puffy quilts. All right, all these have that same thing. So he's going to go with him. That go with him. That go with him. All right, there's 4 left. So this guy will go here and this guy will go there. Look at that.
Eddie wants you to know that she used tips and nail conditioner after getting her nails off.
Oh. Nail conditioner, yeah. I have some. I could put it on my nails. I got to take this polish off that I painted for Christmas, though.
Linda wants you to know your hair is looking great.
Yeah, my hair needs a trim, though. It looks great, but it needs a trim. It's got a lot of dead split ends. But obviously, I'll trim it myself because it's long enough to trim my own hair right now.
A newbie question. I want to know how to cut or use a fat quarter bundle. Do you have any recommendations?
I have lots of videos on using fat quarter bundles, but the sky's the limit. There are tons and tons of patterns that use fat quarter bundles. You could also just wing it and have fun and chop things up and however you want to chop it up. I mean, the sky's the limit with a fat quarter bundle. Like I said, I do have a lot of patterns on my page using fat quarter bundles. Now up. Can I have an iron over here so that I can press all this?
Yeah. Do you want the little one?
No, just that one right there.
Well, what are you going to put it on?
On my board.
Oh, okay. So you do have a board. That's
yep.
What I was getting at.
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of 4 patches here. I still have more scraps of this stuff, but they weren't this size. These are 2.5-inch squares to create 4 patches. I have some more scraps to do whatever else with. Say hi, Dumpy.
He says, how's everybody's New Year doing? He says, I slept most of mine, but I'm up now.
Yep, he slept most of the day today.
Yeah, daddy boy. Right
But that's what cats do, right? Alrighty. Now to just sit and press all these.
What's your little purple gadget?
My little purple gadget is the cutting gizmo. But they don't look like this anymore. And I think I can just grab this real quick. Ugh. I need this box right there. They look like this. Most of them now are this thing right here. The purple. Gypsy Quilter is the one that does the cutting gizmo, but this is the same exact thing, and it uses your blades. So I got this one. It's a blade saver, and this is like my friend Becca has. So it's this thing that you put your blade inside this, and there you go. You have a cutting thing. It's the same exact thing. So there's tons of different companies that do it. Like I said, the cutting gizmo doesn't look like this anymore. It's not this long stick anymore. It's smaller and looks different. But they also have this brand. And you can find these at Fat Quarter Shop, Connecting Threads. All sorts of companies sell these. So I just haven't put a blade in this one yet because I think I'm going to switch to this one since this one's blade keeps falling out. But I could have one at each machine anyway. So
Can you show them how to change the blade in the cutting gizmo?
the cutting gizmo's blade is easy to change. You just knock it out. It's a razor blade. That's all it is. It's a razor blade in this one. That's all it is. And I have a rubber band that holds it on there because the blade, as you can see, just kind of comes right out on its own. So I keep a rubber band tied around it because I don't want that blade to just fall out and cut me. So once I get this one put together, it'll be a lot easier.
Oh, wow, your cool one there with the rubber band is awesome.
Yes, it is. And it's great for right here at the Juki, but the other one's going to go with the other machine.
Oh, okay, I see what you're doing then.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yep. All right, let's press some 4 patches. Doo-doo-doo. This is going to take a bit. While we sit here and chit-chat.
You want a smaller iron?
No,
On there better?
this is perfectly fine.
Okay. I can iron over here, honey. That is my job.
This is perfectly fine.
Okay.
Just making 4 patches.
Tell them to ask any questions.
If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. Scott's asking them to me, or reading them to me to answer. I don't like this thing. I want to get one of those other kind of microphones. I don't know if you guys have ever seen them. Our pastor at the church uses one. It's like a little tiny clip that goes around on the outer side of the ear. I can't put anything in my ear because it just falls out. But it's a little clip that goes on the outside of the ear, and it just has this little nub that comes right here, and it's skin colored. And it just has a little silver tab at the tip of it. So you can't even tell he has a microphone next to his face. But that's the kind of microphone I'm going to get next, because this thing on every single shirt, all the ones that I have, these shirt ones, because I wear V-neck shirts and not regular collared shirts, it always yanks it down and bunches the shirt up. So this year I plan to get a different kind of microphone.
How's Alexa doing in Tennessee?
Alexa is good. I haven't talked to her since it's been a new year. And honestly, I haven't talked to any of my kids since it's been a new year. My mom and my sister were the only ones that texted me to tell me Happy New Year so far. And then Ian on Messenger. I mean, not Messenger, what's the word? Marco Polo. That's it. So far, that's it. Those are the only people that said anything messenger-wise. My kids, I have not heard from.
Do you ever do a flange binding?
Yes, I do flange binding. I did a video on flange binding like when I first came into this room. Is he eating the carpet?
He's not. He's being good, but he's being bad at the same time. You ever done a completely hand-done quilt?
I started one in 2020 while I was super duper duper sick with valley fever. And all those times that I was in bed, I needed something to do. So I started a hand sewing project. Can you guess what stage it's at now? That's right. It's not done.
Teresa says she sent you a New Year's text.
Oh, well, then I haven't seen it yet. The other ones I got were last night, obviously. Happy New Year. Last night before the New Year. But yeah, only a few today so far. And none from my kids, like I said. None from my kids. So if you're watching, kids, which I doubt you are, but if you are,
Happy New Year.
yeah.
What do you use to hang up your tools on the wall behind you?
They're hung up with a push pin and a bent, what's the word for it? Paperclip. Paper clips and push pins, but that is about to change when the room changes because I have a pegboard that I need to buy the pegs for, but I have the pegboard itself that I'm going to paint, and that's what my tools are actually going to hang on once this room is painted. I'm not going to have these because these push pins fall out of the wall. If you keep pulling your the weight of all these rulers and you keep lifting them off and on, the push pins actually fall out of the wall really easily now. So I'm very cautious how I remove things off of there. And the sheer weight of them is just not great for a push pin with a paper clip. So I'm going to be using a, when my room is finally put together, it's going to be a pegboard that will hang all my rulers and tools from. Everything else will just go in baskets. But everything that's on the wall currently will most likely be the stuff that goes on the wall again, because those are my frequently used items.
How about a hexagon quilt?
I have made a hexagon quilt. Yes. And I made my own version of hexagon quilts a long time ago, too. When I'm done ironing this, I'll go and get it. I had fun with the hexagons once, and I built off of them, so I made a floating hexagon quilt a long time ago.
Do they have push hooks for a pegboard?
That's not that kind of pegboard. It's the older kind that you put the metal things like from the store, like stores have the metal hook kind. That's the kind of pegboard I got. I got it from the neighbor.
Why not a cork board?
I don't want a cork board because then the weight of these will knock off the cork. They'll come right out. It's too much weight. Need heavy metal on a wood board. Heavy metal that hooks to it, like if it was in a store hanging on the pegboards in the store. That's what I need in here.
Did you take classes for quilting?
No, I did not take any classes.
But you do teach them now.
But I do teach them now. In-person classes. But no, I didn't take any classes. I just saw a picture on the Facebook, or I don't remember if it was Facebook. Honestly, it was Facebook. It had to have been Facebook. I saw a picture on Facebook, said I could make this, and I made it. Not that quilt that I saw, but my own rendition of a quilt. It turned out pretty horrible with sheets.
Does your Martelli cutter seem to run your cutting mats quicker?
No, not that I am aware. I know that having a dull blade will ruin your cutting mats quicker than having a fresh blade. So keep your blades fresh. If you haven't changed it in like 6 months, you should change it. Mine goes dull a lot because I do a lot of cutting. I am always cutting something, so I go through blades like crazy. So I buy them by the 10 packs, and they're all right here. And I have all different kinds too. I don't just use the same kind. I use whatever I can get. Missouri Star blades, Alpha blades, more Alpha blades, Fiskars blades, just anything I could think of. There's more right here. Martelli blades for the Martelli one, you know. So I just use whatever. I go through blades a lot. If you guys hear me say all the time, I should change my blade. I think I should change my blade. When was the last time I changed my blade? If you don't remember, change it. 90% of the time, I don't remember when I changed it, but I know I changed it recently.
Are any cutting mats on sale?
I have no idea what's on sale these days because I have not online shopped in quite a few months now for any quilting related products. So I've been being a good girl by not going online and going down that rabbit hole.
What's your favorite brand? I think she means the cutter, though.
Oh, I love my Martelli cutter. That's my favorite cutter by far. But when it comes to my left-handed cutting, I don't think I'd be coordinated enough to use a Martelli cutter in left hand, so I like my big 60 millimeter Olfa one. Yes, he's gone crazy. Well, don't give it to him. Don't give in.
It is something, though.
Yeah. The cat's meowing if you guys can't hear it through the microphone, which is now covered with my hair. That's another reason why I want to get one of those ear microphones, because then my hair wouldn't be in the way of it, because my hair doesn't sit on my cheeks, and it wouldn't rub on my cheeks either. So that would be cool.
Can you go over the size and benefit of all the fabric cuts, like the cake layers, jelly roll, and such?
Layer cakes have tons. They're 10-inch squares. If you didn't know, it's pre-cut 10-inch square, usually 42 in a pack. There are tons of patterns for layer cakes. Plus, you can just sew them together, square to square, 6 across by 7 down, and bam, you have a quilt just like that. So, I mean, there's a benefit right there. Fast and easy, and you could probably have it done in an hour. Seriously. Then there's jelly rolls. Jelly rolls are 2.5-inch strips by width of fabric, which means it's either 42 to 44 inches. Width of fabric varies quite differently with all fabric companies. So you'll get 40 to 42 pieces of that. Most jelly rolls are 40 piece, but you can find some companies have 42 pieces. And those have lots of patterns as well. The benefit of those is, again, you can sew a jelly roll race quilt in guess how long? An hour. So the benefit of pre-cuts, 5-inch squares, same thing. Charm pack, you need more than one charm pack to get a big enough quilt. But if you need a baby quilt in less than an hour, bam, charm pack. 6 across by 7 down. Charm packs are 5-inch squares. You get a quick and easy baby quilt, throw a border on it, and call it a quilt. So, I mean, pre-cuts are good. And then fat quarter bundles, there's tons of things you can do with fat quarter bundles, like I was saying earlier for that other question. They have, fat quarter bundles can be anywhere from 5 pieces on up to, I've seen 56 piece fat quarter bundles because it had one fat quarter of every piece that was in their line, which was like 56 pieces. It was quite pricey now. It was like $230, but hey, you can still get a piece of every fabric that was in that line. Fat quarter bundles have more options because there's more fabric. So you have quite a few more options. You can do the same as the things that you can do with a jelly roll and a layer cake and a charm pack that you can do with a fat quarter bundle. So all those same things apply with fat quarter bundles, except they're not with the fabric. So if you're making a jelly roll pattern off of a fat quarter bundle, then you're just getting half the strip. But most jelly roll patterns have those cut numbers anyway. So you would be cutting 2.5-inch strips and then subcutting them the same as you would with a pattern. So you just have more options of fabric. That's all.
Do you have any tips for quilting in small spaces?
Quilting in small spaces? Well, I started out in the garage, so that wasn't very small of a space. And then in here, it's a 11 by 12 room or 10 by 11 room, whatever. We just had the house measured with all these, and I keep forgetting, but
I don't know.
it's 10 by 11 or something. That's why the long arm didn't fit in here originally. So it's not very small, but I have been in corners quite a long time. So my tip is don't go crazy. You make do with what you have and the space you have. Everybody has a different size, everything. Just make do with what you have. If you're sewing in a closet, make do with what you have. Storage and organization are going to be a big thing. So make sure that you have storage options and organization, things set a certain way depending on the little space that you're in. So if you're in a little corner of a kitchen or the dining room or something, make sure that your stuff is up on the walls and utilize the space under your desk where your feet aren't at, in those spaces. Utilize, shelf space, that kind of thing.
Does Martelli have to have a certain blade?
Martelli does not have to have a certain blade. I have Martelli blades for my Martelli, but it does work with the Fiskars and Olfa and off-brand stuff. So no, it does not have to have a specific one. You just got to make sure on any cutter that the center of the blade, some of them have like dash marks in them. So make sure that they line up with the hole, the size of the hole that's in the center of your actual cutter. So wherever your screw goes in for the hole, just make sure they line up, that's all. And make sure you're using the right size.
Do you have an AccuQuilt cutter?
I do have a little AccuGo. What is it called?
I'm not sure, but it's over there. Eric was playing with it.
Yeah, I have a Baby Go. That's what it's called. I do have a little Baby Go that was gifted to me from a fan out there. And I have one cube thing that has 8 different things in it. 8 whatever. I don't know the terms of it all yet, but I have used it to cut up some of my scraps and I liked it. So I just can't keep it out at all times. But it has its own little carrying case and stuff. I don't think I'm going to do videos on making quilts with it though, if anybody's asking stuff like that, because I really don't I have a little baby thing, so it would take longer for me to use that than it would to cut out manually. I'm a manual cutter, so if I'm doing something specific, yeah, that little thing would help, but unfortunately my everyday sewing does not require it, so I still use it though, but it's just not something I use on the daily. I'm a fast cutter when it comes to cutting stuff out, so.
Yeah, the die.
Yeah, the little die things. I have I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a 6-inch Go cube. 6-inch cube or something like that. It's just a little thing with a 2-inch square, and it has a 2.5-inch diamond one. It has a 3-inch square or 3¼ inch square. It has just a couple little things in it. But I haven't gone out specifically and bought anything extra for it because I can't afford that right now. So I haven't bought anything like that for it. So I only know with what I got. That's all I know. But I know a lot of people use them. And I do know that companies for like some of the pre-cut patterns where like cotton cuts or whatever, or those block of the month things and stuff where you get pre-cut pieces, those are done on like a Go Big or, all those kind of cutter things. So those are cut that way. So if you order stuff like that, you at least get pre-cut whatever pieces from those kind of cutting machines.
Debbie will be here on January 5th. She'll be in town for a while visiting friends.
Well, if
she hopes she can meet us.
If you message me, you can meet me. Just private message me or send me an email, and
course, you like
hopes
me to
I
attend.
see it. And yes, we can meet up if you want. Anybody that ever comes to Havasu, you know it. We are going to meet. If I am not busy doing something, yes, we can meet.
Okay. Should we show this one more time?
Yep.
Knock everything over?
You can unplug that, though.
Huh?
You can unplug the iron now.
Well, yeah.
All right. Yeah, and I need to eat. I'm hungry.
Well, I can iron this, right?
No, it's all done. It's all ironed.
Oh, what iron is that you're using?
This is my Velocity Sensor Compact Vapor Generator Reliable Iron. It's a reliable. How about that? But that's what it is. It's got a sensor in it for vapor to come out so that you can hold it like this and steam clothes and stuff. Yeah, it's a pretty cool iron. It's heavy, though. It's a heavy iron. I don't recommend it for those that can't pick up heavy stuff because it's a heavy iron. It weighs more than my brother's sewing machine.
Yes, it is.
That iron weighs more than my brother's sewing machine, like literally. All right, so this is what I just did, was all these 4 patches, lots and lots of 4 patches. So
Okay, well,
that's
they were
what I
asking
just
about
did.
Piece batting earlier, or piece backing. Let's just quick show them back real quick.
So
Just
this
quick
is pieced back. They're probably talking about more pieces than this, but this is 2 different back fabrics. 2 different fabrics to create a back, because
sideways.
it's okay. I didn't have enough of this pink one, so I grabbed a yellow one with cherries and then put the rest of it on the other side. So that is pieced back. In all terms, that's a pieced back. But if you're asking about pieced as in making another quilt like this and piecing the back, I've also done that plenty of times. Because this quilt could have been used as the back of another quilt if I wanted to, but none of my quilts fit the need for another quilt to be on the back, if that makes any sense. So, but yes, that is a piece back. If you want a solid back, then you would buy a 108 fabric that has no seams whatsoever in it. So if you want true definitions of it, that's what it is. Alrighty, well.
Okay.
Oh, I landed right there.
Oh.
I am going to get off of here, guys. I have a triangle on my sock.
On your sock. Pick your foot up and look. It's blue. It's on the other one.
Oh, look at that. The things that we pick up in our rooms. How in the heck come from?
It was laying right here. You stuck this stuff here.
Okay.
I don't know where it came from originally, but it was.
That's weird. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and get off of here and enjoy the rest of my New Year's Day by eating food.
Like
because I am hungry. I'm so hungry.
Like
oh, yes, thank you. It says, when life gives you scraps, make a quilt. Well, guess what? Life gave me scraps, and I made that quilt. And plenty more. All right, friends. Thank you for hanging out. Happy, happy New Year to every single one of you. May you all be blessed with a wonderful, happy, healthy, and quilty New Year. So I will see you guys in my next video. And remember, January is going to be messed up, but I will still be here for Sew Sundays. Just not always sewing, because as of probably tomorrow, you know, things are going to be in motion. So see you guys. Bye.